like my father did when I was a child. All these dating apps make young people think there's something better out there. But when you find the person you love, you should stick to them like toffee on a candy apple. My wife and I were married for 32 years before she died. Scott would never cheat on me. Emma shook her head. Why else would you sell a bracelet from Harry Winston? He inquired, waving at the box. I broke up with him, she said, wondering why she was telling a complete stranger. Bronwyn would say it was because Emma felt slightly guilty, and she'd be right. For the last 10 years, she hadn't been able to make a relationship last more than a year. At almost exactly 365 days, she broke up with the guy, or, every so often, he broke up with her. How many New Year's Eves had she spent sitting in front of her television with a bowl of popcorn, wishing things had been different, while knowing she couldn't have done anything else? Let me guess, he said, peering at Emma's salon-cut hair. You're in your early 30s, and you're both professionals. You started stopping by Tiffany's after work just to look, and he's spending more nights out with the boys. The last straw was when your best friend got engaged and your boyfriend claimed he had a business trip and couldn't make the wedding. Just the reverse. I think Scott was going to ask me to marry him, and I had to stop him, she said, wondering again why she wanted the stranger to understand. I couldn't marry him. I wasn't in love with him. Well, that's different. He examined the bracelet. Marriage is nothing without love. It's better to end it now. What Emma didn't say was that she was afraid she couldn't love someone deeply and that she'd never get married at all. She wanted someone to share things with, and a kitchen like Bronwyn's that overflowed with lunchboxes and the stray pair of mittens that never made it to the mudroom. And she wanted that giddy sensation of not being able to wait to see that person at the end of the day. The thought that just looking at him was like being bathed in sunshine. And what was Christmas without someone to roast marshmallows by the fire and open presents with? I can give you $200. He put the bracelet down and looked at Emma. That's fine. I'm going to donate the money to the Salvation Army. It's my favorite Christmas charity, she said, nodding. I offered to give it back, but he refused. The man went to the cash register, and Emma glanced at the jewelry cases. Suddenly, she saw a familiar-looking watch. It couldn't be. She looked more closely and was sure it was the watch she'd given Fletcher before they graduated from college 11 years ago. It had been expensive, but she hadn't been able to resist the leather band and white face with Roman numerals. It was just before Fletcher had left to work at the Old Vic in London, and Emma moved to New York to be an assistant copywriter at Ogilvy and Mather. She'd spent 2 weeks watching Mad Men, even though Madison Avenue in the 1960s was nothing like advertising agencies today. It was all so glamorous and exciting, light years away from Colby College, snuggled in Maine, or her hometown of Madison, Wisconsin. How had the watch ended up in a second-hand jewelry store in Manhattan? Excuse me. She had to know if it was Fletcher's watch. Could I see that watch, please? The man took it out of the case and laid it on a strip of velvet. Emma turned it over and read, To Fletcher, you have my heart, Emma. It would be a nice gift for a father, the man suggested. How much is it? She asked, before she could stop herself. There was no reason in the world she wanted the watch. She and Fletcher had lost touch years ago. Had he been living in New York? She had deliberately not followed his career, but she was positive he was a famous director. He'd been the most talented student in the drama department. I'll tell you what, the man was saying. Why don't we call it an even trade? Yes, thank you. Emma slipped the watch into her purse. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. The man smiled at Emma. And I hope you find love. I treasured every Christmas I spent with my wife, Louise.